Hi, my name is Owen Roselle, and this is our demo video for the Macro Tracker project that was developed by Jack Carroll, Stephen Gibson, myself, Jimmy Keating, and Kyle Niedergerke. We'll start off here with the footer. We developed a very basic purple footer with all of our names listed at the bottom. And then we'll follow it up with the header, where we have a simple nav bar at the top with the macro and user buttons to access each page.
Um,
And then for the routing page, we use the Angular routing module and we develop routes for the macro and user component. And we also set it so the home page is set to the macro page. And if it can't find a page, it'll also redirect to the macro page.
Yeah, then to talk about the macro page, here you can see that we subscribe to the database. And this is to select all of the items that you want to add to your users macros. And then for the front end, we kept it pretty simple, but it still has all the functionality.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Keating. And for our user component, we have on the user page, we have a chart that shows all of the food macro details for each item that was added from the macro list. That shows you the food items as well as the calories listed for the item, fats, carbs, proteins, and sugars. And for each item added from the macros list, it will tally up and it will sum up all of the information so you can see, or the user can see exactly how many calories they have intake today.
I'm Jack, and I'll be talking about the food.service.ts. So this is the lifeblood on how all of our components communicate with each other and get information from our backend. So we have a get foods function that will get all the foods from our MongoDB database, set selected items. So that's when somebody selects an item, it saves it in our backend so that the user component will be able to access it. And then the get selected items returns that list for that user component. We have down here a server.js file, but most of that or most of our backend is handled in the app.js. We'll have some MongoDB that Stephen will talk about shortly, but then we also have all of our API calls. So a post to get our selected foods, a get to get the selected foods, and then post and get to get the food from the MongoDB database.
And now I'm Steven. I'm set up the MongoDB Atlas database and got it all connected. So on the actual Atlas site, what we originally had to do was create a user, and what we did was a little bit unsecure, but we created the IP to allow access from any IP, so that it'd be easier for when we're working between each other, especially when we're transferring the project back and forth with different versions. It's just easier to make sure that the data is always staying the same between us. Uh, Other than that, on the actual code side, we had to do two things. Was the actual connection. We decided to use Mongoose to do that so that we had a nice secure connection as provided by Mongoose itself. And then we actually had to create a schema for the Mongoose because Mongo is a schemaless database. So Mongoose actually allowed us to put the schema in there, allow us to store the data with certain keys and values so that we're able to call and use it in the database and on the pages as we like. We also did another method on db.js to connect to Mongoose through another user just to make sure everything was going, and we had individual testing going. So we had different permission levels on the databases.
And then I'll show you our working website. So we'll have the two pages, macros and users. Macros, we have a list of food from our database, and it allows users to select. So say if I had brown rice, some eggs, a banana and some yogurt today. If I go over to the user component, it takes in all of that information and totals it at down below to give you all that information. Thank you guys.